Well, we continue with the broadcast this morning as we head towards closure on this day of Jummah. And if you are looking at our social media platforms, particularly the visual ones on the YouTube channel and Facebook and any of the other channels, you will see an image of children standing in a circle. I see a boy with crutches, and we've become so accustomed to this. Or the question I would ask is, have we become desensitized? Because we're talking about children, we're talking about little children, we're talking about Gaza facing the worst orphan crisis in a modern history, the level of suffering that we've never ever seen before in history. We've learned about over 18,000 children that have been killed in these attacks, newborn babies, infants under 1 year old, fetuses in the wombs of their mothers. We've heard about children freezing to death in tents, dying of starvation, systematic malnutrition that is taking place. And as we speak right now, 60,000 children face death due to malnutrition, with a looming famine in Gaza, and as a result of this blockade. And tragic. And sometimes we are at a loss for words, and there aren't sufficient words to actually describe what is happening to these children. And this is the reason why we are joined by award-winning author and activist this morning, Alhamdulillah, Sister Raashida Khan. Rashida, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jummah Mubarak to you. Welcome and Jazakallah khairan so much for your time.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Uncle Inayat. I always enjoy your programs, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be talking to you this morning. Unfortunately, on a very sad, a very, very heartbreaking topic, but nonetheless important, and we need to discuss it.
Well, heartbreaking in every way, and we can quote statistics, we can talk about numbers, but sometimes that doesn't do justice, because what is a child going through? What is a child feeling right now? We've seen so many of them limbless at this point in time. The picture that's now appearing on screen, a little toddler, walking in that rubble. You can see he's not even wearing any shoes. His clothes are dirty. I mean, like I said, is sometimes, Rashida, we're at a loss for words, where we can't describe adequately how tragic the situation is.
It's more than tragic. I, like you said in your introduction before you introduced me, what we're witnessing now, if we've never witnessed, I don't think anybody can even imagine that we would have had to go through this kind of thing to witness this. And yes, on the one hand, it's because we have social media and we have everything available to us, but on the other, it's just horrific and horrifying. And as a mother, you asked, are we getting desensitized? I don't think, as any mother can ever get desensitized to watching this. Every time you see an image, whether if it's of a child, and you have seen children sitting at the foot of a dead parent, the white shroud is covered in blood, and they sitting there and they crying, and they touching it and they kissing that, and you think, my God, what is this poor child going through? Or you've seen parents cradling their little babies, limbless babies, because with the bombing they've just been shattered. And it is unimaginable. Some mornings I wake up thinking it's a dream. We can't actually be seeing this in this day and age. Can the world be allowing this? Is it some kind of movie, some kind of dystopian movie that we're watching, that this is unfolding in front of our very eyes? And just a few weeks ago, we were celebrating a ceasefire. And Israel completely shattered that ceasefire on every level, and they have no accountability whatsoever, which is amazing. No matter what. And I was saying the other day, everything, we're all, everybody, the whole world is up in arms against this, except the maybe the powers that be in America, and I don't even want to say America, because a lot of students in America, a lot of people, a lot of Jewish people in America are standing for with Palestine and against Israel in this horrific genocide that we are witnessing. So you can't even say it's America, but it's these powers that be, for whatever reason. I don't want to go into the politics of it. And in fact, recently, even on my social media, I've shared very little. I've only been sharing other people's videos, because I feel there's so much more knowledgeable people, and I don't want to be just saying, I'm jumping onto the bandwagon here and trying to talk about Palestine. It's not about that, and it's very, very heartbreaking to talk about it. So I think I've only posted once or twice recently about just how much it's affecting me personally. But I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm watching it. Can you imagine what the poor children are going through, what the parents are going through? And as mothers, we have all these hopes and dreams for our children. We take almost for granted that they'll be safe, that they'll be fed, that they'll have enough food, that they have access to education, that those things are just taken for granted. Those are the basic things that that's the least that they're going to do. And then we have all these hopes and dreams that they will marry and have children of their own, and they will be successful in their careers, and they will study this, and they will be champions of our deen, and they will do so much for the community. And these poor mothers, all they want is for their children to survive. And my heart goes out to the children, and it goes out to the parents, and to every Palestinian. And we talk about the statistics and the numbers. You've mentioned the horrific statistics. Thousands are killed, thousands are injured, thousands are limbless. I mean, Palestine now has the most horrific statistic of the most number of amputee children in the world. I mean, is that something that is that a statistic that anybody wants to aspire to? But each one of those is a person. Each one of those is a human being. Each one of those has family. Each one of those has connections. And you know even the statistics are horrific, but when you boil it down to the individual, how do they cope? How do they survive? Apart from the physical, they don't have food, they don't have water, they don't have shelter, they can't even get a proper education. Apart from all of that, imagine the trauma that these young children go through. I mean, something happens to us, we experience loss, we experience grief, or we experience trauma because whatever it is, whether we've broken into, whether we've lost a parent, we as adults don't even know how to cope with that sometimes. So I can just imagine how the children are dealing with it. Their minds don't even know to comprehend what is going on. We've seen many of the healthcare workers, the doctors, coming on and saying that the children are going through such trauma. Some of them have become mute. Some of them are actually frozen. Their bodies are like frozen. They don't move. This is how this kind of trauma affects them. We've even heard and seen reports of children dying because of the bombing. That shock to the system. Even adults, that shock to the system, those bombing, that constant bombing. When we're looking after our babies and our children, and no, don't make noise. They're sleeping, and everything has to be centered around the children, and that's all these children hear. They don't hear laughter. They don't hear music. They don't hear normal things. They don't hear the sound of their mother's voice if they're orphans. How do we expect them to cope? I'm sorry if I'm coming across as very emotional, but this is a topic that's very, very close to my
Well,
heart.
Rashida, I think one cannot stop getting emotional. And I think
Mm,
personally for me as well, and sometimes they say, when you're on media, you can't get emotional, but when you see what is actually happening, and the point that you made earlier on, uh, that is just not a number, that is not only a statistic.
mm,
And I
mm.
recall when Dr. Metz Gilbert was in South Africa, and we were having this event in Pretoria, and they had these little plants, basically hundreds of them on stage,
Oh,
and each one had the name and the age. And I said, this is not just a plant. This is about a life. This is
yes.
about someone who had aspirations, someone who had dreams of growing up, of becoming someone, of becoming, and this sometimes we actually fail. And that is why I say statistics don't do justice.
Mm,
And when we talk of the amputees as well, it's not only that they're being amputated, the manner in
Mhm.
which these
Without
children are
hands.
being amputated without the necessary, anesthetic, all those type of things, medication. There are no pain. There are, no painkillers. All of this put together and tells us that this is now a generation that is going to be traumatized, where no psychologists, no psychiatrists, because they themselves are not prepared to actually, counsel or provide even mental or psychological support, because it's happening on such a horrific and mass scale never ever seen before.
Never ever seen before. And I mean, you would imagine that like I keep thinking, this can't be happening. Is it really real? You mentioned Dr. Mads Gilbert. There's so many influential people. Dr. Mads Gilbert recently addressed the UN. And I wonder, there's so many people who've been standing up. There have been governments like Ireland, Irish government have stood behind, and so many, even South African government have taken, our own South African government have taken Israel to the ICJ, and everything is there, but there's no will, there's no political will to stop this. I was asking a friend of mine recently. I was saying, what do we do? There's hundreds of protests, thousands of people gathering in protests all over the world in cities. There's so many influential people, so many knowledgeable people who are talking about this. How do we stop this? I am feeling so helpless. I'm feeling hopeless. I'm feeling completely useless. I'm sharing, I'm talking about this all the time, but we can't seem to stop it. If anything, it seems to have gotten worse over the last couple of weeks. So, what do we do? And, actually, this person was quite knowledgeable about things like this. I was actually responding to a video where somebody came up and said, if 10 governments got together and put up a military force to actually stand and protect, to be peacekeepers in Palestine. And this person who was very knowledgeable about these things said, even that's not going to help. Nobody can withstand the Israeli government and the Israeli army, because they are being manned and funded and militarized with all of the weapons by the superpower of America. And American citizens are against this. The majority of American citizens are now waking up and saying, you know what, we don't have health care. We don't have homes for our homeless people. We don't have so much that is going, and there's threats to cut aid for the disabled and for the senior citizens and all of that, when billions of our tax dollars are funding a genocide which we don't want to be a part of. But nobody can stop this. And I mean, I am now at this point where all I'm saying is, in addition to all that we're doing, we all have to pray. We all have to pray and ask Allah. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can stop this. And we beseech him, Allah, in your mercy, stop this, because we can't handle this anymore. If we, as witnesses, sitting safe and sound in our homes, can't handle this, what are the poor people of Palestine going through? And we make dua, Allah make it easy for them. But I wish there was some kind of miracle, some kind of thing that we could just wave a wand and stop this. And even if we do stop it, even if the war, the genocide actually stops, it's going to be years and years and years before we build up the country again, before we can rebuild the hospitals, rebuild the schools, rebuild the universities. And in spite of all this horror, I'm still always amazed by the resilience and the fortitude of the Palestinian people, the mothers, the children, young children who stand up and read Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, and they are proud to be Palestinian, and they say we will never leave our land. I mean, we have a little small issue and we're like, oh no, we want to leave. We packing up our bags, are going and going because we can't cope. But these people are so tied to their land. And Alhamdulillah, Allah keep them steadfast, but Allah also make it easy for them, inshallah. I make dua so much for them. And I ask everyone to please just make a lot of dua, because what else can we do now at this point?
Inshallah. I mean, Rashida, you used two words, helpless and hopeless, which I wanted to obviously discuss
Yes.
with you. But before that, I need to go for a quick ad break, and inshallah, we'll be back after this.
Ameen. Jazakallah.
Sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Searching for elite local and international investment and advisory services from an award-winning firm? Look no further than the Belmont Mayer Group, your gateway to unparalleled investment and wealth management. At Belmont Mayer, we believe in the art of wealth creation, a meticulous process fueled by our unwavering commitment to excellence. With a focus on providing elite alternative investments and quality advice, we also pride ourselves on maximizing value for our esteemed investors, as seen through our consistent outperformance. Your financial success is our top priority. Join us at Belmont Mayer and experience the difference firsthand. Ready to embark on a journey of greatness? Contact us today. Reach out to the Belmont Mayer Group on 078 786 1698. Call or WhatsApp or email us at info@belmontmayer.com. Elevate your financial future with Belmont Mayer, where every detail matters.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
Well, we continue with our discussion this morning, taking a look at Gaza and facing the worst orphan crisis in modern history with my guest, Raashida Khan, author and activist. And when we're talking about orphans, and we need to also understand the Islamic position as far as orphans is concerned, and the Quran speaks extensively about orphans, about the rights of orphans, about usurping the rights of orphans. We know many and hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who himself was an orphan as well, showing empathy, showing sympathy for the orphans, and what he had actually displayed, his conduct towards orphans, Sister Rashida. So, Islam stresses as far as orphans are concerned and their rights. And when we're talking of not now with the Palestinians, we're not talking about usurping their rights. We're talking about horrific humanitarian disasters at this point in time, and the brutality with which it is actually unleashed on these poor little innocent children. Now, you mentioned the two words, hopeless and helpless. The Palestinians themselves, yes, at this point in time, they're feeling helpless. But like you said, their resilience, their strength, they are not hopeless, because they've always hope. And they always, in fact, they actually are an inspiration to yourself and myself as far as hope is concerned. And we were discussing this actually in the month of Ramadan, where we were talking about before the end times, there will be one group of people that will be on the path of haqq, on the path of truth. And many are starting to concur at this point in time that it is the Palestinians. They've endured so much over 75 years, where we've seen generation after generation going through this. When we talk of trauma, we talk
Mm,
of generational trauma, you
mm.
know, and this new generation of Palestinians are experiencing trauma like never before. And yet they still have hope that they will get through all of this.
It's amazing actually that they are so resilient in spite of everything that they're going through. And I think it gives us pause to reflect and to think that, if they have so much of trust in Allah, why shouldn't we? So even though we feel helpless and we feel hopeless, we have to continue being strong, continue asking Allah for help, and believing that everything that happens, everything and anything that happens in this world is Allah's plan. It is because of Allah's hukam. And we know this, right? Sometimes we waver. So, what is there for us to do? I mean, I was listening to somebody who said, what can we do? So yes, we do all that we can. We support by giving financially. So we give to Gift of the Givers, we give to Muslim Aid, we give to medical aid to Palestine, to all of the humanity. There are lots of organizations that are on the ground trying to do what they can. It is difficult because it's hard for stuff to get through. We know that there's a blockade on all aid and all food, flour, water, anything to go through. They've cut off electricity, they've cut off water. So you wonder what you're going to do. But any little bit that you can do, wherever there's an opportunity to join protests and organize, we should do that. Make our voices heard. Very, very important also for us to follow the BDS movement, the boycott and divestment movement. It is making an impact, right? So obviously everybody knows all of the companies that we should be boycotting. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to go ahead and do. But companies like Nestle, Starbucks, even Discam. Apparently, a lot of the companies that are supporting Israel, we cannot be seen to be supporting them. So boycott them. Our economic power is probably one of the few powers that we have that can actually make an impact and a difference. So if you don't know about which companies, go onto the BDS website, follow them, find out. They make it easy for us. They give you a whole list of how to look at barcodes, how to look at particular, there's apps that you can download on your phone to make it easy for you to know what you can and what you can't do. Please, if you're drinking Coke, don't drink Coke. Stop drinking Coke, stop drinking Pepsi. There are other alternatives. Just be healthier. We have to keep using our voice. We have to keep speaking out. I already mentioned making dua and strengthening our local community, let's have unity amongst us as Muslims, and maybe that will also make an impact. We have to believe that will also make an impact somewhere, somehow. And also, very importantly, to take care of ourselves and to take care of people around us. I personally feel that is one way to stop feeling so helpless and useless. Yes, we're sending money, we're doing what we can, we're making dua. But if you are active in your own community, taking care of somebody else's child, somebody else's orphan, doing your little bit, helping in your own community, that makes you feel active, that makes you feel a little bit in control, a little bit that you have some kind of power to make some effort. And it may sound like it's airy fairy arty farty, but it does help. That little bit of kindness that you put out, in your own surrounding, that can have a ripple effect. We talk about the impact of paying things forward. You never know how that little kindness can impact another person and another person and another person. And we hope and pray that whatever we can do does somehow reach the Palestinian people, even if they just see our support and they can take heart from that. And if they see how much we are making dua for them and praying for them, they can take heart from that. And if there is anything more we can do, as soon as the blockade is over, the thought of all of those trucks sitting at the border trying to get in, carrying desperate supplies, medical supplies, food, which may even be getting stale and expiring and getting rotten, sitting on those trucks. There's even tents, because we've seen the pictures. It's just rubble. It's just like a rubble construction site. Even where they're sitting and eating and walking, and there's just nothing for them. And we really hope that, I don't know, if Allah can put some kind of understanding in the hearts of the Israeli government, in the heart of Benjamin Netanyahu. I mean, I feel like I want to, I don't know what I want to do to him, but if Allah opens up his heart and makes him understand that what he's doing is so wrong and nothing can justify this. And if anybody ever says, oh, October 7th, geez, I'm ready to shoot that person, honestly, because we know that this didn't start on October 7th. This started way back, 75, 76 years ago. And yes, I will always say that the Palestinians have every right to defend themselves, and I will never ever, people have to come on and say yes, they condemn the actions of October 7th on media. I will never condemn the actions. In fact, I am proud of the Palestinian people, of Hamas, and I stand by them in whatever they try to do. And yeah, unfortunately, that is being used as an excuse to commit this genocide, and it is absolutely wrong. And may Allah, punish them as He can see fit, because I don't know what we can do as human beings except pray and ask Him for justice and peace for and peace for the Palestinian people.
I think, Rashida, as you mentioned, hit them where it hurts hard, and we
Mm,
know their love for material wealth, their love
mm.
for materialism as well. So hit them there first, what they love the most, and I promise you that will bring about their downfall as well, because that is what they cherish. And also, again, it gives us an opportunity, and what the world has woken up to. And this has been a point that was made very, very early when this genocide started unfolding, that Gaza will be changing the course of history. And we are seeing evidence of this. We are seeing a new generation of activists and activism arising right across the entire world. We see it amongst our youth. We see it amongst our children. And just the other day, I've got a 3-year-old granddaughter, and she
Mm,
had this Palestinian neck scarf, and I was
mm,
doing a video call with her, and she asked me, she says, Nana, where's your river to the sea?
mm,
I want to see your river to the sea. And this
mm.
is now what I'm saying is the children are being exposed to this, and this new generation of activists. We just need to nurture them. We need to work with them. And at the end of the day, we shouldn't allow fatigue to actually creep in,
Yes,
because
yes,
we need to keep the struggle alive, non-stop, relentless, and non-stop. The bombing and the brutality and the carnage is
exactly.
unfolding in Gaza. We need to be equally relentless in each and every way, as you mentioned, either through protests, through boycotts, divestment, sanctions, whatever we need to. But we need to keep Palestine alive, and not only amongst ourselves and communities and activists as well, but also in terms of our mosques, in terms of our imams. In fact, I saw a press release by the United Ulama Council of South Africa, instructing the ulama, the khatibs in the masjids, to
Gee,
use this Jummah platform as well. And we need to, like I said, it needs to continue all the time, and we shouldn't be forgetting. And that in itself will again prompt and inspire people to, at the very least, raise their hands in dua, which we know is one of most powerful weapons of a Muslim, because this injustice will not continue. Allah's justice, and I am convinced, and the Palestinians are also convinced, Rashida.
yes,
I've spoken to
yes.
many in the last 18 months that they are convinced that Allah's justice will be swift, Allah's justice will be brutal, and at the end of the day, they are certain that it won't be long before they will start seeing liberation. In fact, some have actually mentioned to me, book your tickets for Ramadan 2028, Masjid al-Aqsa. We're going to be meeting in Masjid al-Aqsa,
Inshallah
inshallah.
ta'ala. Ameen, summa ameen. Yeah.
Yes. So Jazakallah for that, Rashida. And really, I must say, always a pleasure. And looking forward to obviously our engagements, future engagements as well, inshallah, on this topic as well. And keep up the good work. Allah Ta'ala accept, Allah reward your efforts. Have yourself a wonderful Jummah going forward as well, inshallah.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Thanks for the opportunity. And yeah, thanks for your time as well. I always love chatting to you, Uncle Inayat. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu
Ameen.
alaikum wa
Assalam.
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Raashida Khan, also an activist with us this morning. And with that, let us take strict note. And I mentioned to Rashida early on, the United Ulama Council of South Africa has issued this communication to the ulama, to all our masajid as well. And this is an appeal that goes out to all the imams, to all the khatib. Please utilize this Jummah platform and future Jummah platforms as well on a regular basis so that we don't forget what is actually taking place. This is a part of an ummah that is not burning. This is a part of an ummah that is hemorrhaging at its very, very worst. And it's something that we cannot ignore. And let us continue. Let us inspire ourselves, our families, our communities, our ummah to continue with this fight, with the struggle, and at the same time send a message to our Palestinian brothers and sisters. You are not alone. We are with you. And with that, I'm signing off from myself and the team here at Salam Media. Have yourself a wonderful Jummah, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.